Here is the Dvar Malchut, a speech of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, which he made in 1991. Parashat Ray. It's a continuation of the previous ones that we learned. Parashat Ray. This week, by the way, is this Shabbat will be Shabbat Mavorchim, the Shabbat that we bless the month of Ellul. Parashat Ray. That's what we just learned about in Likutei Torah. Parashat Ray. We always read Parashat Ray near or in the month of Ellul. But Rov Hashan, in the more majority of the years, it's in Shabbos Mavorchim Chodesh Ellul. That's what it's going to be this year. That in we draw the blessing of God into the whole month of Ellul. Why do we have to bless the month of Ellul? Isn't it already blessed? No, the Jewish people are here to bring blessing into the world. Time is part of the world. We're here to bless the whole population of the world and the whole physicality of the world so that there won't be any more famines or floods or disasters or whatever. And all the people in the world, there won't be wars and famine. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And also time. Time. We're blessing the month of Ellul. B'kama shanim in many years, like in this year, with Rosh Chodesh Ellul, and the first day of Ellul falls on Shabbat. This year it doesn't work that way. This year is not that way. This year, Rosh Chodesh Ellul is on Sunday. Right? It's on Sunday and Monday. Let's have a look over here. Sunday and Monday. That's right. No. Yeah. Sunday. Yeah, Sunday and Monday. Very good. And we have to understand the connection. Now, last week we learned about the month of Ellul. Remember, we learned Ani Ledodi Dodi Li. We serve God from below to above. We do all the work, and then there's also from above to below. We sort of jump over all of the problems, and we just use God's power, God's inspiration, our Jewish identity, to overcome our problems. Two ways. Ani Ledodi means we use our natural personality to start to realize there is God and start to do what God wants and to love God and fear God. That's Ani Ledodi. I am to my beloved. This is a sentence from the Song of Songs. King Solomon said, I am to my beloved and my beloved is to me. So first of all, we know that God is beloved. God is really good and he's beloved and he's creating us from love. But on the other hand, he wants our ani, our I. He wants us to connect to him. So that's the thing of ani ledodi li. This month is, this Shabbat, coming Shabbat, is connected to ani ledodi li. I am to my beloved and my beloved is to me. Serving God from below to above or from above to below. And this is somehow or other attached to the Parsha of Ray. What's the connection between Ray and the month of Ellul? Can you do it like it's known that the times of the year, Sheikh and the Parshas of Torah, they're relevant to the Parsha of the portion of the Torah that's being read. So it seems here that they are, Ray and the month of Ellul are the opposites. Here it seems to be a big exception. There seems to be not only no connection between the portion of the week and the time of the year, it seems to be opposites. How so? In Yanishal, the whole idea of the month of Ellul is Ani Ledodi Li. I am to my beloved and my beloved is to me. This is the first letters of Ellul. This is Avodat Adam. This is serving God from below to above. How does it start? I am to my beloved. I go to God, and then God reacts. He comes to me. By means of this, and afterwards there becomes Dodi Li. First of all, I act, and then God reacts. This is a very basic, very, very basic and important foundation in Judaism that Hasidut brings out. That God reacts. God reacts to what we do. We start from below, we do what we do, right? Against all odds, against all whatever it is, and we're in the darkness. Well, nevertheless, we serve God, and God reacts. He gives blessing, he gives a feeling, he gives inspiration. That's the month of Ellul. We do it all from below to above, and then God reacts. But if our Torah portion, Parashat Ray, is exactly the opposite. It's talking about what God gives. Mudgeshet, this is talking about the Hamshacha Milamayla Mata. It's talking about that God, He is giving this blessing. Even more, every word of this seems to be coming from above to below. Let's see. See if we can even more when we're talking about coming from above to below. But call Pratya Tevos, and every single word of this Re'ei Anochi Noten Lifnechem Ayom. Each one of them seems to be the opposite of Ani Ladodi, Bedodi Li. Ani Ladodi means I have to do it all myself. We're living in a dark, confusing world, and I am going to believe in God against all odds. And I am going to even serve God, and I'm going to think about God. I'm doing it all from below to above. And that's the month of Ellul. And this week's Torah portion is saying the opposite. God is going to do it all. Look at each word indicates that God is doing it all. Ra'eh, when God says see, seeing is higher than hearing. What does it mean seeing is higher? To validate something. If you see it, that's a much better validation than hearing. Unless you can prove, that the person that you saw was wearing a mask or something like that. But generally speaking, seeing, that's proof. Hearing is not proof. Right? I heard from a very reliable source that you said that you owe Shmerel $1,000. I heard it from a very reliable source. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. I got 10 witnesses that heard, right, that from someone very reliable that you owe him $1,000. It means nothing. If one person comes and says, I saw it, that means something. It means something. Two people come, that's it. That validates it 100%. Riyah is not like hearing. God says, see. It's not shaloch, and therefore, ein aid naseh dayan. It says that a one who witnessed something cannot be a judge. Kiven the chazinu, since he saw it, lo matzu he can't find. It won't be able to find any merit. Right? One witness comes in and says, "I saw Shmerel borrow $1,000 from Beryl. I saw Shmerel do it. You owe him." Shmerel says, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know Beryl. I never borrowed money from. I saw him. I saw you. It was you. I saw it." So they say, "Okay, one witness is not good enough. So you know what? We'll take it to court. You'll be the judge." So Shmerel is going to say, "How can he be the judge? He just said that he saw it. He's lying. It's not so. He didn't see it." So the fact of the matter is if he did see it, so he can't possibly be a judge, because after he saw, maybe he saw something wrong. Maybe he saw a vision. Maybe he saw the wrong person. But nevertheless, he saw it. Then he can't be a judge. The best he can be is a witness. What if a person hears something? A judge hears witness testimony from someone. He can continue being a judge. The one of the difference between seeing and reading, and seeing and hearing, that hearing is from below to above. What does it mean? When you hear something, you hear little by little. You tofes prati achrei prat, you grasp one detail after the other, until you understand the whole thing. Seeing is from above to below. First of all, you see the whole thing, and then little by little you understand it. That in the beginning you understand the whole thing, and afterwards you understand the details. Something like, let's say, the Jews in Mount Sinai, right? So they saw God. They saw God, but they didn't understand anything. It was too much for them. They couldn't take it. But they saw. They had no doubts about it. But as soon as Moses was gone, someone came along with a golden calf, so they went crazy, which would not have been the case if they would have worked hard from below and tried to understand, then all the different questions they would have answered, then it would have been more valuable. But on the other hand, it's from below to above, right? As long as you don't, when you see something, you know it for sure. When you hear it, you don't know it for sure. It's like we learned before, Chachma and Bina. We learned in the previous. Bina also means understanding. Shema Yisrael means to understand. Hear. Zeh sheponim elav amiras anochi. When also, okay, so that's Ra'eh. Ra'eh is from above to below. Next word. What are the words here? Ra'eh, Anochi, I, Noten, Lifnechem. All these words are indicating from above to below. The opposite of Ani Lili. Ra'eh means God says, see, I'm showing myself to you. That's from above to below. You don't have to work. I'm doing it all. Anochi, this is Hodad Atzmuto. This is, God is saying Anochi. The word Anochi means my essence. For instance, if Zeh sheponi milav b'amirat anochi derech hagba v'hitnasut. If a person in the regular normal world, you'll never hear anybody call themselves Anochi. If you say, "What's your name?" Ani, right? Tuvia. Ani. That's Ani. You never say Anochi Tuvia. It makes it. Who are you? Who do you think you are? Anochi. A king calls himself Anochi. But a king says Anochi is derech hagba v'itnasut. The word Anochi means somebody big, important, from above to below. Anochi means the king is speaking from above to below. I'm not like you. I'm not like Ani. Shezeo, this is the difference between Ani and Anochi. That's the difference between the word Ani and Anochi. Anochi, keshemodim stam, when a person says Omer Ani, that I say, Omer Ani Poloni, when a person says, I am Shmerol Ani, Shemodim Derech Hag. Keshemodim Stam, when a person just lets somebody know what your name is, you say, Anochi Poloni, I am Shmerol. But when you want to show a person that you're really bigger than him and greater, you're coming from above to below, then you say, Anochi. Anochi haroeh, like he said, I am the prophet. That's the difference between Ani and Anochi. What's the difference between Ani and Anochi? The letter Chaf. The letter Chaf, this indicates Keter. Chaf is the first letter of Keter. Anochi, that's why God, when he gave the Torah, he said Anochi, because it's talking about a high level from above to below. So here's another Sheshem Iker Romamus. Hisnasus, the level of Keter, that's true highness. So we have Ra'eh means to see, that's from above to below. Anochi means also highness from above to below. Notain, from above to below, I'm giving. A person that gives, it says gives with generously. Lifneichem, how does that show from above to below? Shepirusho lepinim yutchem, I'm putting it into your insides. Shebezem mudgash yoter hamshacham yilamayl lamata. This is coming from above to below. That God is saying, I'm giving from above to below. Like when you see something, and afterwards it comes in an external way. The Lord, seeing something has much more of an effect on you than hearing about it. The loka seder milama, maybe hearing about it lasts longer, but seeing something is more shocking, right, than hearing about it. The loka seder milamata lamaila min chitzonius alapanimius. Hayom, today. Okay, pinimus means inside, putting it to your inside. Hayom, today, you can see a lot of times a picture of somebody, right? A picture of somebody. You know somebody, your grandfather, something that passed away, and you know how great it is. When you look at his picture, it arouses in you something deep. So also the same thing, a person is separated from his parents, how much he loves them, right? He hears about them, thinks about when he sees the picture, it's a different thing, right? That goes to your panemius. Panemius, the inside, is when you see something, when something that comes from above to below. Last word, hayom. No, last word is a bracha. I'm giving you today. What is today? Shemor ala or v'giloi. Today means light, revelation, like it says, vayikra Elokim la'or yom. God called to light, he called day. This also indicates on something that's eternal, nitzchiut. Hayom means now. We remember we learned that in the mimer just now. Omer, as all the rabbis say, any place where it says hayom means something that's eternal. What's eternal? Only God is eternal. Hayom mamish means right now. Namely, something that's coming from above to below. This world, nothing is eternal. The cave and sham shachayi milamaylamata, since God is giving us from above to below, so this is a way that's eternal and set, everlasting. That shows that it's coming from above to below, because in this world there's nothing everlasting, so it must be coming from above. So that's what it says. Ra'eh, see, from above to below. Anochi is a high name of God. Noten, giving, means it's giving, right? God is giving. He's not receiving, like from below to lifnechem, going into your inside. What goes into your inside? Only something that comes down in a way of seeing from above. And hayom, and today means right now, something eternal. That's also showing from above to below. What's the Rebbe talking about this? To show that it's the opposite, seemingly the opposite of the month of Ellul. So where's the connection? Ra'eh is supposed to have a connection to Ellul. Ellul is coming from below to above. We have to do it all. And the last word, bracha. I'm giving you a blessing. Shenyanu, what's the idea of a blessing? Blessing means to draw it down from a high place to a lower place. Milamai lamata. L'shlemos bracha, to the complete idea of a blessing. Midrega nailis bioter, the highest level, which is sasum. The concealment of God is brought to be revealed. Therefore, it says in language, it says sasum shalochin mrar, as it says belashan tehepech bracha. Therefore, it said in the language of the opposite of a blessing. Bracha of a klala. What does it say? Anoten lifnechem. What does it say? Ani noten. Ani. Ra'ei anochi noten lechem hayom bracha v'klala. Oh, he didn't bring it yet, did he? It says, I am putting in front of you a blessing and a curse. The Rebbe doesn't want to say the word curse. I'm putting in front of you a blessing and a curse. A blessing is something that comes from above to below. And this is something which is the opposite. It says in a bechinas sasum, it's in a way that's concealed. Therefore, it said in a way with in a language which is the opposite. When you say kalala, let's continue. Like it says, la'achrei bracha. It says bracha uklala. Ha'inyan the agada b'samchas b'mesechas, like mesechas moed katan. Like the story. There's an agada that once Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he sent his son to Rabbi Yonatan and Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda Gerim, I think. In any case, it's a story over there that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he sent his son, Rabbi Elazar, to get a blessing from Rabbi Yonatan and Rabbi Yehuda. And they blessed him, and they said terrible things. They said, that you should buy all sorts of produce and not sell it, and that your house should fall down, and terrible things. And the son came back to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and said, they tortured me. Until his father told him in the note, this was really a blessing. In fact, something that seems like a curse can really be a blessing in disguise. In fact, generally speaking, everything like that, but it's very difficult to say something like that. But nevertheless, that's a fact. Listen, there's a certain degree that a God can give a blessing and you realize that it's a blessing. But we're very limited. Like, for instance, the Jews at Mount Sinai, that God gave them the biggest blessing of all. He spoke to them. And the Jewish people said, we can't take it. Please, it's terrible, it's awful. Our souls are jumping out of our bodies, right? We're all dying. It's the worst thing in the world. It was the best thing in the world, but they couldn't take it. So because it was too much of a blessing, so it came to them in a way they couldn't translate it into a blessing. They didn't have the program to translate what God was giving as a blessing. They couldn't translate it. So therefore, it came out to look like a curse. The same thing was with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He sent his son to get a blessing. They gave him such high blessings that it could only be translated to him as a curse. So that's what it says, a blessing and a curse. That's what it means. That shenefach klal levracha, that it can be transformed, the curse to the blessing. Kamo she'atshuva gadola mibechinas tzadik al yedei zeh she'achoshech nefach. Like for instance, a person that does tshuva means that he transforms darkness to light. Mashe nefach mira latov, from evil to good. This is higher than being a tzaddik. Tshuva is greater than the level of being a tzaddik. A tzaddik is a person that never had any bad. He never tasted evil. A tzaddik is a person that he's always living in good. On the other hand, the person about tshuva is a person that he tasted bad, he did bad things, made a lot of mistakes, and he was living in a totally dark world. To transform that dark to good is even higher. So says the Rebbe, somehow or other, this whole thing of the bracha, and there's two levels of bracha. There's one type of a bracha which we can understand, and then there's even a higher level of blessing, which is concealed. Therefore, it's said in language which is opposite of blessing. But this all comes from above. Yeah, and it's the opposite of ani ladodi. Bracha, this blessing from above to below. On the Shabbat Mevorchim Chodesh Ellul, Shenyano, the whole thing is ani ladodi dodi li. Avodas Adam milamata lamayla davka. So what's going on over here? This, generally speaking, the birth of the Jewish people, the month of Nisan, is God did everything. And generally speaking, the month of Tishrei, we have to do everything. The month of Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. We're the ones that have to pray to God. We're the ones that have to beg for forgiveness. We're the ones that have to say, we're going to change our ways, God. We sound the shofar. We do the work from below to above. We declare, we coronate the king. That's what Rosh Hashanah is. We'll learn about that another. But we have to do the whole thing ourselves. The month of Nisan, God does everything. So if so, it doesn't seem to be really proper that we should read this Torah portion, Ray, in the month of Ellul, when we do everything from below to above. Ellul is the preparation for Tishrei. We do everything from below to above. Ray, God is saying, look, I am giving in front of you blessings. That's the month of Nisan. That's the month where God does everything. Why are we reading about this? So there must be a very important message here, and we're going to find out what it is. Or at first glance, maybe we can answer it like this. Not only is it an answer, a theoretical, what is it? Anyway, there's a word for public speaking, to give something in a theoretical idea, wonderful homiletic, as it's called. For some reason, sometimes words slip my mind. But this is just for a rhetoric, like a rhetorical question. It's a rhetorical answer. I'll give an answer for the sake of the l'chora. Maybe we can explain it like this. What's the message to be learned from here? And since the Chodesh Ellul, since the month of Ellul includes in it the service of the whole entire year, whether we're talking about making a cheshbon tzedek, whether we're talking about making a proper reckoning, like we talked about last week, vatikun shleimos, or to fix yourself up, the Hashana Hochalefes, the past year, Heina Chana Lashana Haba, whether we're talking about the coming year, Sheyesh Bo Shtei Ofani Avodah, there's two ways of serving God. The Milamata Lamayla, that from below to above, the whole year contains from below to above. Generally speaking, that's the month of the winter months from Tishrei on, including the month of Ellul, Ani Ladodi, and then they're serving God from above to below. Right? And Ellul is sort of like the preparation for the whole year, not just for Tishrei. Preparing not just the Tishrei, which is from below to above, but also for the months of the summer, like begin from Nisan, Dodi Li. God is giving us everything. Kolim Shneim. So therefore, they're both together. So that's the reason why we read Parashat Ray, is to give us a little bit of hint at what's going to be in the month of Nisan, that God does everything for us. Or, but maybe even more detail, HaCheshbon said the proper reckoning, soul reckoning that we have to make, the Shana Cholefes of the previous year, the beginning of it comes from the service of the months of the summer, Cholefes. This comes from Nisan on, when Nisan is already spring, and then comes summer, after the month of Nisan. But often that the whole month of Nisan is that God does everything from above to below. But afterwards, it adds on also the cheshbon, counting, the reckoning of the months of the winter that comes 6 months later. The preparation for the coming year. This is from these months, the months of the winter months of the previous. So we're reading Ra'eh now. This is a preparation for the whole entire year that's coming. This Mosif Hachana L'Chodesh HaKayas Shel Achrod. So in other words, maybe we can say that Parshas Ra'eh is power from above to below. This is coming to prepare us also for the month of Nisan that's going to be coming. And that, what gives the power to Nisan? These months of the winter from Rosh Hashanah onward, that gives the power. So maybe that's the reason why we're reading Ra'eh, to remind us that God does everything. It's coming from above to below, and that's going to be the work, the message of Nisan in under 6 months. So maybe we can answer like that. Because afterwards, after all, it's a two-way street. We serve God from below to above. That's from the month of Tishrei. But eventually it's going to come the month of Nisan. And really, Nisan was the whole beginning of the Jewish people. That's from above to below. And that's hinted at in Parshas Ray, from above to below. Could be. We'll see tomorrow, God willing. Now let's learn the Hayom Yom. 1 second. In the winter of 1891, when my father taught me Tanya, this is the previous Rebbe speaking, and it says the second soul in Israel is actually a part of God. So we say, what does this mean, a part? It says the second soul is an actual part of God. It should say the second soul at Israel is a part of God actually. That's what it says, mamash. What does it mean, part of God from above actually, mamash? It seems to be contradictory. A part of God from above, that's the highest level. Actually, mamash means that it's down here in the physical world. So he explains this is the Jewish soul. That even though it's the ultimate essence of spiritual, ruchnius, nevertheless it has an effect on even the lowest and most material of the material. That's the Jewish soul, the highest of the high and low, just like God, the highest of the high and simultaneously coming into the lowest of the low in order to show that everything is created by God and everything has a purpose. Okay, have 3 o'clock today, God willing, we're learning Chumash with Rashi and the other Meforshim. Have a good day. Shavua Tov with Moshiach now.